Welcome to What Works Today. One of the most important things about being a manager or a leader or a sales manager is that you need to be able to focus on the things that are going to get the most results. So I'm going to share with you about a dozen ideas of what actually works fantastically well today. First one is leadership, and you'll see as I build the points up on my screen here. Leadership. What is leadership? Leadership is about letting others see the potential of your vision. So people want leaders. They want leaders that are ethical. They want leaders that communicate well. They want leaders that have good standards. So what really works exceptionally well is showing good leadership. So you can implement that, and of course if you want to see more, have a look at one of my training schools videos on leadership. But the focus is on leadership. Our second most important concept we have is performance. Now you may say, but I perform all the time. I'll tell you what your staff measure you on. How long it takes you to make a decision. Performance is, I went to the boss this morning and he said he'd be back to me by 3 o'clock. It's now 4 and he hasn't come back to me. I'm now disappointed. Sometimes at 9 o'clock you might have to say, I intend to get back to you at 3, but I may have to tell you at 3 it's going to be delayed. And at 3 o'clock you make that decision, I'm going to have to delay it. Never leave people waiting for your decisions, because that's when they see lack of performance is related to decisions. So make sure you make decisions. Our third point, motivation. Now motivation as a leader is about helping other people to motivate themselves. So what we do is we create a motivational environment that allows people to see the sense of the vision, they see the task that's underway, they see the standards that's underway, and then they focus on doing what they can. That's motivation. Filling people full of drinks, giving them a rah-rah speech, giving them pills, giving them an outing is momentarily changing the environment, but it doesn't have a long-lasting effect. Whereas motivation of getting people to see the vision has a long-lasting effect. Our next point is support functions. Now the classic one is the administration support. The salesperson spent 3 months winning a major account, and we take 3 days to open their account. That's crazy. We should have been doing the work and credit checks earlier. If you have a think about support functions, the cell phone bill, the motor car, the laptop, the equipment, the sales aids, the PowerPoint, support functions of other people around them and equipment that people use can be frustrating if you're trying to do a 100% job and you're working on 25% of the available equipment. If you're trying to do a 100% result and your accounts people don't open the accounts, delivery is behind, debtors start chasing customers for non-delivery product sales, those are the sort of things that we consider support functions. Your sales meeting is a support function, where you have a meeting to engender positive thought and to engender positive sharing of success. Okay, our next most important one is sharing of success. If you remind people of good behaviour, they then repeat it. So things like at your sales meeting, you get people to share a success that they've had. At a team meeting, share a success that they've had. When a salesperson comes in to tell you about a new account they just won, get them to share their success. You see, when people only ever see success, they believe in success and they deliver success. Never use the phrase, yes, great, but. So yes, but is out. No, but is okay. If somebody comes to you and says, can I do this? You can say no, but at 3 o'clock you can. If they come to you and they say, look, I've just won a fantastic account. You say, yes, great. What are the conditions of what you've won it on? Never use the yes, but philosophy. So people enjoy success. So we're talking about a good leader has to make decisions, has to have equipment around them that works, has to remind people of good behaviour, and has to build success into their daily lives. Now let's talk about relationships. Now I don't mean the hop into bed kind of sexual relationship. What I mean is business relationships. Business relationships that are based on achieving standards last longer. Business relationships that are based on being an autocratic bureaucrat, which is do as I say because I'm good for you, only last as long as the people think you're going to be good. So one of the most important things is get people involved in building relationships with their good customers. The best rep gets the best customers. The best customer gets the best rep, gets the best territory with the most profit potential. So when you think of this concept of relationships, it is about building relationships with skill of people who can benefit from it. Okay, so now we've added in the relationship to it. So let's add in what's become part of our selfish X and Y generation world. Give me an incentive. Give me an incentive means reward me for my efforts. You see, team rewards are nice to have, but they don't motivate individuals in today's world. What motivates them is incentives for them meeting standards or exceeding standards. So incentives for effort of being better than the standard, incentives for effort being better than the budget, incentives for efforts that are shared with the team are fine. You might give everybody $50 if the whole team achieves something. And the individual people who contribute to it might get $100, so they get a little bit more. People want incentives for their effort. But remember, don't get caught up in giving incentives if they didn't put the effort in. So now we're talking about how we can actually really get people behind us. So now let's change the slide, and what we'll do is we'll have a look at some additional ones that are part of the same mix. So continuing with what works, praise. Now you've all heard this, the little comment, praise somebody every day. How hard is it? You have 65,000 brain thoughts every day. Couldn't you say one of them will be to praise somebody? You know, when the sales rep comes in and says to you, fantastic, got a new account, you say, well done, what skills did you use? That's praise. When one of your office ladies says, well, we've solved the problem, you say, fantastic, what was it that you identified? You see, when you give praise to people, they then seek out more praise, so they repeat their good behaviour. So praise is a very good thing. People want it these days. Quite often in their home environments and in their partnership environments, they don't get it. Okay, our next most important one that we want to have a look at is giving people awards. Now, this could be the Morrow Bar of the Day. This could be the Salesperson of the Month Award. This could be the Idea of the Month Award. Two things with an award: it should also be written down, so you give them a certificate or a piece of paper, as well as the recognition. And always give awards out in front of other people. You'll find that people crave awards because it's part of building my CV, part of building my career, and they don't have to be major prizes, because if everybody goes in for a competition with a $10,000 prize, the rest of them become losers. Far better to have prizes along the way of $10,000, $1,000 gifts if you want to. So the award concept is another very good way of what's working with people at the moment. Travel. New Zealanders love travel. Australians love travel. Indians love travel. The world loves to travel. So by rewarding somebody for effort with travel, and by I mean travel to a holiday destination, travel to a business destination, that works exceptionally well. Anywhere overseas. Now it doesn't mean necessarily into another country. It could be, if we're in Auckland, it's across to Waiheke Island. If we're in Wellington, it's across to the Sounds. You know, we're across the other side of the Sydney Harbour. We go from Singapore to Malaysia. Things like that that are easy, travel overseas works exceptionally well. Now here's the biggie. Organise meetings. Organise meetings. An organised meeting has an agenda. An organised meeting has a time frame. An organised meeting has objectives. So organised meetings are the leader's responsibility. Agendas before they come to the meeting, sharing success at the beginning of the meeting, sharing objectives at the end of the meeting. People want to come to a meeting saying, I learned something, and they went away feeling knowledgeable. Quite a tough one to deliver, this meeting one. You need to focus on it. And of course, you're going to check my meetings video, and that will help you with that as well. Okay, top salespeople want to see key account management. Now remember my little phrase that I used before, the best sales rep deserves the best customers, the best profit. So key account management is a step up. So if a sales rep is performing in their territory, you give them more responsible customers to look after. People want to feel as if their career is developing, and quite often you can't always change territories, so give them more responsible customer management, give them those key accounts to look after, and then manage their process of looking after them so they grow in their skills and they become more important to your organisation. How about a career? Customer service people become sales reps become major account reps, major account rep become prospectors or account developers, and so on through your organisation. Developing people's careers from within your organisation works today. People really find it focusing, and they find it really good to actually engender. So career pathing or career development is an important part of letting people know that once you've achieved this standard, you go to this standard, to this standard, and that's where your career could go. And a focus that actually achieves there. And the last thing that works today is have a new product or a new service to actually use or sell. People love things that are new. Of course all your products are new, so sometimes you have to bring some that have been languishing for a while, rework out the sales aids and the presentation, but focus them on being new. So if you have a look at those things that work, that really makes a significant difference. Now, to scare you, I'm going to tell you what doesn't work. And I'm going to give you some ideas. But one last little point that I want to make, it's called participation. The most successful leaders, the most successful managers are people who allow their staff and their team to participate in the decisions. Participation is questions on the end of answers. Participation is meeting participation. If you put all those into place, you'll get there. Okay, so as I said, let's tell you a little bit about what doesn't work. So you'll have some things that drive your own team, but I've given you the main ones. So now let's tell you some of the things that get you into problems. Right? Some of these things are administration hassles. The paperwork has to be right or it gets bounced back. The manner in which the admin staff talk to your team. So admin hassles demoralises and stops change. Poor marketing effort. The salesperson is out in the front talking to the customers, and if the sales aids don't work, the brochures don't work, they don't help them to get a decision, we're aiming at the wrong segment, we're communicating the wrong way, then the sales rep has to be able to communicate back to your marketing team, this doesn't work. And they very quickly, after 4 or 5 calls, will pick up how well it's going to work. Slow decision making. Remember I said to you before, what motivates people is the speed of your decisions and accuracy and fast. If you take too long, 2 or 3 days, people lose interest in you. Use of old technology. Remember when cell phones were about that size? And now we have much smaller devices. People want to be able to use their Palms, their Palm Pilots. They want to be able to use their iPods. They want to be able to use organisational tools that are built into those devices. And if your organisation still insists on let the customers phone for messages, what you are perceived then is frustrating because you're using old technology. How about quality variances? Quality variances, what I'm talking about here is what you delivered is not what the customer ordered. And who gets the blame? The salesperson fronts it first with the complaint. So you need to develop an organisation that is consistent in its quality. You're either excellent, you're either very good, or you're improving. And focus on the very good and the excellent. Delivery below expectations will frustrate your people. Promising them a conference in Fiji and then going to Waiheke Island because you didn't hit the budget. You need to tell them the choice right at the beginning. If we get the revenue, you go to Fiji. If we don't, we go to Waiheke. And you'll then focus on what you're actually going to deliver. So delivery below expectations will annoy your staff. Very focused. How about this one? Poor performing team members. You've got a group of people who know that sales rep D is not performing and they're waiting for you to do something about it. The longer you take, the more frustrated they get with you. And you know that that's happened when after you have terminated somebody, the rest of the team come back and they say to you, well, it's about time you did that. Frustrating, isn't it? Okay, let's have a look. There's some more. And then you can actually analyse how well you're going. Lifestyle reduction. Who's the one that is working 60 to 70 hours a week? Is it you as the sales manager or is it your sales team? If it's you as the sales manager, what is your partner or your family member saying to you? You're not spending enough time with me? When you overwork people, they then adjust down what they will contribute. Partner in positions. We have the partner in position and the focus on, I need to have a conference on Friday and Saturday, and your sales rep's partner turns around and says, what about the kids, what about sport? In today's busy world, where generally both partners are working, you sometimes have to do a bit of adjustment. I can tell you a story about having a regular monthly function on a Friday night with my team, and one of the partners came up to me and said, I love these functions, but It's always on the third Friday of the month, and that is the night that we actually choose to go out ourselves. And by the time we've been to your company function, my partner is then generally not in too good humour or state to be able to go out on our private life. And I said, well, why don't you change the date that you go out? But of course that was her thinking selfishly. But at the end of the day, it's got a point, hasn't it? You've got to be careful on the partner impositions. Okay. Technology and communication. Everything's faster, 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 isn't it? We've got to go faster and faster. So when people can't get through on the phone, they can't get their emails, they can't get their texting, they can't use Skype, that's when things get frustrating. How about this one? Lack of training. If you want to keep your staff, invest in them, train them, upskill them, keep challenging them. When people don't get training, they go to somewhere else that promises training because that's how they build their careers. Long hours. There's a little rule. If you work 12-hour days for 21 days, by the end of the 21st day you might as well not be there because you're useless. Putting in too many hours over too many days without recharging your body and recharging your brain doesn't work. So when you work people for too long, all you do is get inefficiencies build up. So our concept is really those are the things that hassle your team. So now I've shown you what wins, I've shown you what hassles you. Here's a little test. Go through the list of what hassles you and how many have you got. Just tick alongside the ones that you've got present in your organisation. If you've got more than 3 out of the roughly sort of 12 that I've mentioned, you're in trouble. Then go and have a look at the success ones and see how many you're delivering. And the answer is cut out the hassle ones and deliver more of the successful ones. So now you know what it takes to be a good leader. Now you know what it takes to be a great manager. Practice these little skills, and if you want to know more, check out the other training videos on GWizTV.com. So thanks, enjoyed showing you what works, and I'll see you back again on GWizTV.com.